Walking to the right has been one of the primary objectives in video games since their inception. The 2D space these games took place in were rather limited in their capabilities, so the easiest way to progress is simply to move forward, overcoming any obstacles or enemies in your way. But as video games evolved, this seemingly simple act of moving forward transformed into something far more profound, a foundation for telling complex and compelling stories. Games like Limbo, Inside, and Little Nightmares 1 and 2 show how this basic mechanic can be used to craft unforgettable narratives. Each of these games employs the same timeless storytelling techniques found in great movies and books, but video games have a unique advantage: agency. By putting you in the role of the protagonist, they allow you to actively participate in the narrative, creating a deeper emotional connection and a stronger investment in the story being told. Instead of passively watching events unfold, you make choices, overcome challenges, and experience the consequences firsthand. This level of interaction bridges the gap between the player and the story, turning moments of tension, triumph, or tragedy into deeply personal experiences. It's this interactivity that makes these games hit that much harder. I highly encourage you to play each of these games for yourself if you haven't already. I will be spoiling the story for all of them, and I promise you each story is best enjoyed when actually playing through the game. So please, go play them. But for those of you that already have, or if you don't mind getting spoiled, let's begin. One of the first games to explore this genre of side-scroller, puzzle, platformer with a dark tone and deep underlying story was a game called Limbo. In 2010, Playdead Studios released Limbo, where you play as this unnamed young boy who wakes up and with no tutorial, no backstory, and no dialogue, you have no idea what's going on. But seeing as this is a video game, you know that somehow you must progress. With nothing but the sky above, the earth below, and no way to travel to the left, you only have one option: walk to the right. You're unsure of what your overall goal is, but you continue to push on as the boy avoids pits of spikes, water too deep to swim in, and ginormous killer spiders. Despite this terrifying monstrosity's presence, you must continue your journey, so the boy uses a bear trap to cut off its leg, so you can keep on your path forward. Eventually, the boy conquers the spider, but the next foe he faces is one far more familiar: other boys. You don't know why they're hunting you, all you know is that you must survive. And to do that, it's kill or be killed. Further down the road, you make it into a city of some kind, passing through a hotel and into a factory. After carefully navigating through the factory's saws, machine guns, and other deadly parts, the boy eventually breaks through a window and time slows down. Eventually, he stands up, now back in the forest area similar to where your journey began, and he comes across a girl sitting beneath a treehouse. He approaches her and the game ends. Now, I get how cryptic this story may seem at first, but there are theories that help explain what's happening. Many fans believe that the game's title, Limbo, is referring to the state of being between life and death. The boy you play as has recently died, and he must journey through this area, overcoming the fears he had in life, such as spiders, drowning, or bullies. And at the end of the game, he finds his way out of this limbo by finding this girl. It's a very interesting story, and it's told in such a beautiful and unique way. As you're progressing through the game, you're trying to unravel the mystery of who the boy is, where you are, why there are giant spiders, why these other boys want you dead, who this girl is, why this puzzle is so confusing, why is he moving like that? With each new bit of information you acquire, the story gets more and more intriguing. For the entirety of the roughly 3-hour playthrough, you remain engrossed in a narrative shrouded in mystery, piecing together meaning from the sparse details it provides. What makes this even more remarkable is how the game accomplishes this with an incredibly minimalist design. No dialogue, no explicit backstory, just a world cloaked in shadow and ambiguity. Yet within that simplicity lies its power. It leaves room for interpretation, inviting you to project your thoughts and emotions onto it. 6 years later, Playdead Studios would release their next game, Inside. While it may be very similar to Limbo in terms of gameplay, being another one of those aforementioned side-scroller puzzle platformer with a dark tone and deep underlying story games, but with a brand new look and a completely different story. Once again, you play as an unnamed boy. The boy emerges from a hiding spot in the forest. You soon discover why he was hiding as you see men capturing other people and taking them hostage. The boy is noticed and has to run from the men and their dogs. After escaping, the boy ends up on a farm. It's clear that this farm is in pretty bad shape. The pigs are either dead or infected with a parasite that caused them to act erratically. The boy comes across this helmet, which when he wears it allows him to control other people around him. These people the boy controls appear completely powerless unless they are actively being controlled by the helmet. After escaping the farm, the boy makes it into a city, where he finds more of these people being controlled, but they are also being closely monitored. The boy is forced to act like one of these mind control people in order to make it out of the area. The boy then makes it to a laboratory, where he comes across many victims of human experimentation. He eventually makes his way to a large aquarium where many of the lab scientists have gathered to observe what's inside. The boy finds a way into the aquarium to find what had the scientists so intrigued, and what he finds is this. For some reason, the boy chooses to free this blob of flesh, and in doing so, he is absorbed inside of it. Now, controlling the blob, you force your way out of the aquarium, and after rumbling and tumbling your way through the lab, and taking a couple of scientists out along with you, you escape the lab, rolling down a hill before settling on a beach in front of the ocean. The end. This story takes a pretty crazy turn once you reach the blob near the end. When I played through the first time, I didn't know what to do when I wound up in the aquarium with it, and I was thrown through a loop when the boy was absorbed into it. This twist initially had me very confused, but the more I thought about it, the more interesting it became. Through the whole game, you're trying to understand what the boy's motive is. Is he just running away, or is he going somewhere? Then there's the whole mind control aspect, where it seems like an evil organization is experimenting on and controlling these people to do work for them. The blob appears to be the culmination of these experiments, and it's possible that the boy's entire purpose this whole time was to free the blob from its imprisonment. Maybe he was being controlled by the blob itself, or something else entirely. That's up to your interpretation. This game gives you a lot to think about with its story, and once again, Playdead has told an insanely interesting story simply by having you control a boy to move to the right and just see what's become of this strange world. No dialogue or explanations, just the environment to tell you all you need to know and then your own mind to process it. These things stick with you, and you start to think about them all the time, even in your sleep. I've recently started having these short, bad dreams, or I guess rather you could call them In Little Nightmares, you play as Six, a small girl in a yellow raincoat who wakes up in a dark industrial area. Armed only with a lighter, she begins to explore, uncovering a sinister facility where children are kept imprisoned. Six encounters the janitor, a blind monster with disproportionately long arms, tasked with maintaining this place. Stricken by hunger, she initially survives on scraps, but her desperation leads her into a trap set by the janitor. After escaping his clutches and disarming him,
"Oh, brother, this guy stinks!"
Six continues on her journey. Her path takes her through a kitchen where a pair of grotesque chefs are preparing food, and after escaping their grasp, she makes it outside to find that she has been on a large boat called the Maw. She sees a large amount of large guests arriving on the Maw. After scurrying her way through the dining area of these obese guests while they gorge themselves, Six's relentless hunger strikes again. A friendly gnome offers her a sausage, but she has other dinner plans. Finally, Six confronts the lady, the mysterious figure overseeing them all. Using a mirror to exploit the lady's aversion to her own reflection, Six defeats her. Overcome with hunger once again, Six consumes the lady, gaining dark powers. As she leaves the Maw, she takes her newfound abilities for a test run on the guests before finally escaping. The end. The eerie environments and unsettling character designs make it so easy to immerse yourself in this world. The Maw is a grotesque reflection of excess and greed, with each person living in it being a hideous example of that. Six is a character that you are initially rooting for. You're playing as her, so obviously you want to see her succeed. But as her hunger worsens and as she performs sadistic actions such as killing the innocent gnome, you feel conflicted as to whether or not you are playing as the good guy. The suspense and horror invest you so much more in each encounter and each monster that you face. Just 4 years later, Little Nightmares would receive a sequel, inviting us back into this dark, surreal world. Little Nightmares 2 follows Mono, a boy with a paper bag over his head who wakes up in a mysterious forest filled with traps. He discovers a house and frees a captive girl who we later find out is Six, though she initially distrusts him. The two work together to escape. They make their way outside but have to sneak past this home's owner, a man called the Hunter. The Hunter chases them with his shotgun, eventually cornering them in this small shed. Unfortunately for the Hunter, there's another shotgun in the shed, and Mono and Six know how to use it. They travel across a body of water and reach a warped city with buildings that bend and move. After making their way into this city, Mono finds a television which is broadcasting a static signal that seems to interfere with him. He places his hand on the TV, managing to warp himself inside of it. Now, in a long, bendy hallway, Mono has nowhere to go but towards the door at the end of the hall. As he's running down the hall, he is abruptly brought back to the real world by Six. As they travel further into the city, they come across a school. The duo navigate this sinister school full of porcelain bullies and their terrifying long-necked teacher. Six dons her iconic yellow raincoat. The duo then escape to a hospital overrun with killer mannequins and spider-like hands. They come across the doctor who runs this hospital, but our protagonists make quick work of it. After escaping the hospital, Mono's encounters with televisions grow stranger. He makes his way back inside a TV, this time reaching the end of the bendy hallway only to reveal that behind the door was the Thin Man. Six pulls him back out, but it's too late. The Thin Man has been released. He captures Six and then pursues Mono. Mono faces the Thin Man and shockingly defeats him using his own powers. He then enters the signal tower where he finds Six transformed into a monstrous version of herself, clutching a music box. Mono destroys the box, reverting Six back to her normal form, and the two race to escape the tower. However, Mono trips and has to jump, relying on Six to catch him. She does so, but after a moment, she rips her hand away, causing Mono to fall. Now, trapped in the signal tower, he is forced to wait, being changed by the signal tower's influence over years. And it's revealed that Mono is the Thin Man, trapped in a never-ending cycle trying to prevent his younger self from the fate he has been forced to suffer. The end. Little Nightmares 2 takes everything the first game did and improves upon it. The environments are creepier, the monsters are more terrifying, and the story is more captivating. The twist of Mono being the Thin Man is mind-blowing. It makes you think about earlier parts of the story in a completely different way. The Thin Man was never just a faceless monster hunting our protagonist for no reason. It was Mono trying to enact revenge on Six for a betrayal that she technically hadn't even committed yet. The themes of control, loss, and corruption are masterfully woven into the gameplay, crafting a narrative that is both thought-provoking and unsettling. The stories told in these 4 games are some of my favorite stories from any video games, and beyond that, some of my favorite stories told in all forms. And each of them does so without the need for dialogue, text, or cinematics, just with the environment around you and how you make your way through it, which, incredibly in all of these games, boils down to the simple goal of walking to the right. I want to end this video with one final thought. In the title of this video, I refer to this act of walking to the right as art. I want to talk about that word, art. It's a word that gets used a lot, but I want to ask you, what is art? You might first think of a painting, a song, maybe a movie. Art is defined as the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as a painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. So yeah, a painting is art, a song is art, even movies are art. But there's another kind of art, one that doesn't just ask for your attention, but invites your participation. At their core, video games are a marriage of all art forms: visuals, music, storytelling, and interactivity. They're more than just entertainment. They're worlds. They're canvases painted with pixels and polygons. Soundtracks composed to evoke every emotion, and stories that unfold not just through dialogue, but through your actions. That is what makes them truly unique. They give you agency, a power unique to the medium. A film can move you, but it can't ask you to save its world. A painting can inspire you, but it can't hand you the brush. In games, you are the creator, the hero, the villain. You are the one who drives, solves, invents, builds, and destroys. They show us worlds we could never see, lives we could never live, and dreams we never thought possible. So remember, these games that we play remind us that art isn't just something we observe. It's something we experience, something we become a part of, and something that, in turn, becomes a part of us. Thank you for watching. Congratulations on making it to the part of the video where I ask you to like and subscribe. If you made it to the end, I really do appreciate it. And if you like this video and want to see more, you can check out this video where I talk about Fire Emblem for way too long, or this video where I list out my top 50 favorite games. Or if you want to see any future videos from me, feel free to subscribe. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.